In this video, we would like to look at the impact of technology on society and environment. We would like to find out, we would like to investigate, we would like to have a discussion of how did advancements in science and technology affect the environment. Has the environment stayed the same, like the way it used to be? Has it changed? Is the impact affecting us for the better? Are we doing, or are we getting a much better deal or a much better progress because of technology, or we are getting a raw deal? So that is what we will be looking at. But in a very precise way, we will first look at, we will first look at what things are made of. That is, in this chapter, you will learn how plastic wastes damage environment. Then also you will learn how this negative impact can be reduced. So right away, we will then move on to, so look at this. So the diagram I've shared with you right on the screen is showing a tire which has been cut, the tire of a car which has been cut, and this tire of a car which has been cut, it has been shaped into something which can swing so that children can use it, for playing. So you can see that for yourself, and the question is, what is this swing made of? Well, in a very precise way, this swing is made of a tire. Excuse me. So let's see this. Now, as our introduction note, what we have here is that many years ago, people used materials that were found in natural environment. This is very much like trying to say people were using things like water, the things that you naturally find in the environment. You can talk of things like water. You can talk of things like what? Like wood. Like after cutting a tree, you get a wood. The water, which is running naturally. Clay, which is soil that you find normally around water bodies, and things like grasses. These are the natural things that we used to have in our environment. And those are the things that people used to make materials. Anything you can think of were made from those things. You can think of equipment, for example, musical instruments, like flute. Musical instruments like flute would be made out of things that you find from the environment. For example, wood. Wood would be the one used. A tree would be cut down, then it is made to dry, then it would be shaped so that an instrument can be made out of it. But right now things have changed. A musical instrument like what? A musical instrument like a flute is coming from industries, and it does not even have a single % of wood in it. Purely plastics and other products. You see that? So we say today people use many new materials that are not found in the natural environment. So people have adopted these things of making, the main idea, the main ideology, the main program behind it is very much like to have something better than what we used to have. And so people are thinking of technically anything that they can find, then they transform it into something that was not there, and it is used to make a new product. Now, these materials are made in factories, Okay, you move to different factories, you find raw materials coming in, you find new products getting out. The things that used not to be there in the natural environment. Now, these things are often made from oil, which is extracted from underground, coal, also extracted from underground. Now, the materials made obviously include things like what? Things like this, a pen. This pen, when the way it is, the way it sounds, you just see that it is made out of some plastic material, you know, for the casing, and maybe this nib here, which is an additionally a different material. Long or many years ago, pens like this were not there. The pens that used to be available were different pens, and they were made from different materials that were available in the environment. But right now, things have changed. People are now looking for, you know, different materials from all over the world to make products. And as I indicated, these materials include things like coal, include things like oil, you know, the things that are mined from underground that used not to be naturally available. Because now, how would you, in the past, how would you go deep over 5 kilometers underground to extract a mineral, to extract oil, to extract what? Coal. So these include materials like plastic, some paints that are made, certain fabrics, you know, they make used to make clothes. Now you may have heard of things like polyester cloth. All these are known as synthetic products, synthetic materials. Synthetic materials, they are very much like materials that you find where that are a result of chemical synthesis. They are results of materials. They are results of chemical processes. You don't find them in the surrounding. You don't find them in the environment. You cannot get out of your house and you move over there and you be like, wait, I'm looking for this synthetic product. Now, these things, you can't find them. You see, you cannot find them in the environment. Synthetic products are made through synthetic processes, and these are from factories, industries. Okay? Well, this advancement in technology, the advancement that we have been seeing, has assisted in a number of things, but there are also what? There are also some disadvantages. For example, synthetic materials have got many advantages. They are most time durable. That is, they last for a long time. Like when you buy a synthetic product, it can take long with you. They are also lighter. In other words, they are not heavy. A synthetic product is most of the time not as heavy as a what? As a natural product, a product which is got from the natural environment. They are also cheaper. Okay? Now, when we look at a few, 1 or 2 or 3 of the disadvantages of synthetic products, we also see that one of it is that they contaminate the environment. Very much like saying, once a synthetic product is thrown out, okay? Once a synthetic product is thrown out, what do we get? Well, these products that are thrown out, they take so long to decompose. They stay there as waste for so long. And so because of that, it is better to use these industrial products, these synthetic products, over and over again in trying to keep our environment safe. Synthetic products are cheap, yes. That means people can buy a lot of it and you can buy the quantity really that you want. Now, the easiest way to reduce the disadvantages which comes with synthetic material is to buy as few as possible. You see that? You do that in a process known as reducing consumption. When you buy less of something which is dangerous to the environment, in the process known as reducing consumption, you will be reducing the disadvantages the same product is having over what? Over the environment. Now, the other disadvantages of a synthetic product that most people do not see. Okay? That is, harmful waste is often formed at the factories where the synthetic materials are made. You know, it is a chemical process. Chemical processes involves the use of very large quantities of chemicals. Chemicals by nature are not good. They are not healthy for human beings to have contact with. And now the problem here is in the process of making these synthetic products, a lot of this, you know, these harmful wastes are dumped. You see, they are often formed and dumped at factories. You know, basically any product you can think of, even at home, when you think of, you know, it's cold and it's you burning some firewood, well, the product is ash. You know, you're doing something, the product is somewhere there. So even at industries, when something is being made, it's a process, meaning raw materials are put into the processing plant. Then the waste is formed. For example, look at the industry which is used for making like plastics. The industry used for making things like plastic chairs, you know, plastics of any kind. The waste get to be so dangerous. And that is something that not most people see because, you know, industries, they don't live in, they don't stay in the same neighborhood with the people for the most time. Industries are normally isolated in their own industrial area. But this waste, once they are dumped in things like water bodies, they can spread out. Fish can eat the chemicals. And as fish will be eating the chemicals, the other thing we see is people go fishing and the fish is again sold to people. So you see, by the time you are feeling the impact of that harmful waste, it's already in your body and it's too late to reverse it. So again, we move into this industrial setup. You see? So the other waste that obviously you may not easily see are these other ones here, the liquid waste, which is normally dumped into water bodies. Then they sink inside there and they spread. As we have seen, this waste, they last so long. They don't easily decompose. They stay there for as long as it takes. Also, at industrial sites, you have solid wastes and waste in form of gases. So this is just a small structure of an industrial plant. Now, one good idea to keep waste of synthetic products or synthetic materials separate from waste of natural materials is called waste separation. You possibly might have seen this somewhere, you know, at a school, you know, a shopping mall or something like that, where you have rubbish bins. The rubbish bins are, they are marked as for plastic, for papers, and for solid wastes. You see that? So things like toilet papers are dumped inside the waste, that is the rubbish bin, marked as for papers. Then you will be having what? The other plastic bin, the bin which is marked as for plastics. That is where you drop what? You drop the other material. Then now, we also have the solid wastes. The solid wastes are like, you know, the things after eating, you are full, you know, you want to drop it there. That is it. We have to do these things of separation of wastes. Now, waste of natural materials is broken down into natural environment to form harmless substances that like harmless substances like composts. Well, what we are trying to say here is that for natural materials tend to be easy to break down. You know, the things you find from the environment, even the wood, the tree which is cut down from the environment, they tend to decompose a little bit easily, and they are not as harmful as something which has come from where? From an industry. Now, some natural materials break up into harmless substances simply when they lie in the sun or in water for some time. So you see these natural things, these things you find from the environment, the things that we have been listing, the grasses, the trees, the vegetation, the water bodies. Sometimes they just decompose without much. You just get it put in the sun, they decompose. You see that? You just get it, put it in water, they decompose. They decompose much more easily. These are natural products. Now, a material is called biodegradable if natural processes can break the material into small, harmless pieces. So there is what we call biodegradable. Okay, biodegradable right here. This then means that the material we are talking about can break. Okay, the material we are talking about can break, can decompose into harmless pieces. Materials that cannot break down naturally into harmless substance, they are called non-degradable, non-biodegradable. These are materials that cannot break down naturally into harmless substances. What is that supposed to mean is there must be a chemical process, an engineered chemical process, a process which is like an industrial process so that it can break down. We call them non-biodegradable. Then, now most people throw all things, that is all their fruit, vegetable, peels, you know, on a compost heap that is in the other rubbish bin, which is marked as for solids or solid what? Substance or solid waste. They also throw dead leaves, you know, small tree, branches, cut grass on it, stuffs like that. Over a few months, the waste on the compost heap changes into small dark pieces that feel like soft soil. This is called compost or humus. Compost is a valuable material because plants grow better in soil that contains a lot of compost. So compost is like, you know, like balanced diet for plants, trees, stuffs like that. A compost heap should be kept wet and warm and filled with air. You can do this by covering the heap with plastic sheet and mixing the compost once a week. So very much like saying if you want to make compost, well, the thing that you need to do is what? To make compost, the thing you want to do is to keep them in a warm environment, make them moist so that they can decompose nicely. So there we go. Now, this is a compost heap. You know, things like leaves, things like food that has remained, you know, things like trees that fell down, those type of things collected together under the right condition, they break down a lot easily. And when they break down, they don't form any harmful product. Now, here are some few questions that we can get into, and well, we discuss. The thing is, what are things made of? Basically, anything around you right now, what are they made of? Like, what do you have in your room right now? Well, you do have a table. You have some pieces of papers. You have shoes. You have cups. You have basically everything in the house. What are they made of? That is the question. We would like to investigate this so that we can understand properly the impact of technology in this aspect relative to our daily life. Okay, so here is the instruction. Look around you at the following object in your classroom. Possibly if you are at home, then you look at it in your study room. For each object, do the following. Write down what you think this type of object was made of hundreds of years ago, before there were specific materials. So this is very much like an assignment for you. You are at home in your reading room. Please look around and check through. That way, you should be able to identify the different things that you have in the house, then how they got made up. Make a list of 5 different items. Then you write what you think they are made of, and you submit your work. Then also this, write down what these objects is made of today. These are the different things you have. It is activity 8.1, part B. Part A, you list for me 5 things you have in your reading room at home. Then after listing them, you tell me what you think they were made of hundreds of years ago. Now, to make it easy for you, just a minute.